This is the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show. And now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the job search alternative to expensive outplacement. For more information, go to bunnyslippersareevil.com. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a webpage with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you and make your resume available 24/7 and get a free professional email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you are thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long complicated applications, branding and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunities? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies, person-tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private lesson with Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find the facts now. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto, the world is your oyster, be the pearl.
But we have known Tyrone Griffin for many years. He has been a speaker, workshop leader, has helped job seekers in so many different ways. And he started with us in 2009 or 10. And when we started having dinners and dinner speakers, and he's been a keynote director, he's just done everything for us. So we have him here tonight. What you're going to hear from Tyrone is how he's been through this whole process himself. And because of that, because of having gone through this process and knowing what helped him, he put together a program and podcasts and amazing materials that can help you with your search. So I'm going to bring forward Tyrone. It's my privilege to bring you up here. Please come.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I want to thank you for allowing me to come talk to you for a minute. Some of you know me, some of you don't. My short story, back in 2010, I found myself where you are, out of work. I was out of work for a total of 15 months, and it was 15 of the worst months of my life. Let's just be clear. Let's set the table. Transition sucks, right? And you agree it sucks. So that's where I'm coming from. Real quick, while I was in transition, I started talking to people about how bad it sucked. And as a result of that, I found out that nobody was talking about that. We were always talking about resumes and business cards and networking and informational interviews, but we weren't talking about what we were actually going through. And I think the point for me was when I had a conversation with somebody in this building, and they told me that they were going home and they were crying all the way home. And it hit me that we all come, we dress nice, and we smile, and we look positive, and we're uplifted. But a lot of people were going home from these meetings and they were crying all the way home. And nobody was talking about it. You know, we all had our own little story, but we weren't sharing it with each other. We were thinking that we were the only ones going through this. And when I found out, when I started talking to people, that a lot of people were going through the same thing. The anger, frustration, fear, so many different emotions, but we weren't sharing. You know, because we didn't want anybody to know that we were scared. You know, our families, I'll talk about that. Friends, you know, I was talking to somebody today, and it reminded me of another lesson that I wanted to talk about tonight. But anyway, So I started talking about it. And I started going to different events and just talking about what transition is like. And just trying to give a voice to all those emotions that we were feeling. And from there, then I started a podcast. And some of you heard of it. It's called Bunny Slippers Are Evil. And the reason it's called Bunny Slippers Are Evil is because if it's 3 o'clock and you got on your bunny slippers, you're not looking for a job. Right? So, I did that podcast for about 6 or 7 years, every weekend. It's still on. It's on iTunes and it's on YouTube. I started doing it doing video. So there's about 300 and some odd shows, and I talk about everything. We did total just shows on resumes and business cards and interviewing. I interviewed career coaches. So there's a lot of information. It's all free. The reason I did it was because I wanted to give back. So when I landed, I started volunteering here as a table facilitator. One thing led to another, and here I am on this stage tonight. So that's the longest story of my story. The things I'm going to talk about tonight, these are not things I read, these are things I experienced. Okay, because I remember what it's like sitting at those tables. And the second lesson. The first lesson is to trust God. Okay, no matter what, trust God. He's got a plan. Okay? Second lesson, and we're not going to go through them this quick, but second lesson is have a plan. Create a plan. Now, why should you create a plan if you're going to trust God? Well, because God needs something to laugh at you about. Okay? Because you're going to create your plan, and it's not going to go as you expect. Okay? But what is that? Faith without work is, and I can't remember the exact scripture, but basically, you got to do something. If you sit and say, okay, I'm going to trust God, and I'm just going to sit back and wait for the job to come to me, you're going to be sitting a long time. So that's one of the lessons is have a plan and work your plan until God tells you something different. Okay? So let's talk about, like I said, one of the things I heard tonight, we talked about how many people here have not told their family that they're in transition. I mean, we can laugh about it, but I did that too. You know, my then spouse at the time, she knew, but, you know, I mentioned it to family, but I said, oh, but I'm okay. And we don't tell because there's a stigma, okay, around being unemployed. There's a stigma. How many people here are here because of a reorganization? Okay, that's the new way of getting rid of it. We just reorganize around it. Everybody goes through that. Don't be ashamed of it. You didn't, unless you walked into the office and smacked your boss in the head and got fired for that. You're not here because of anything you did. So don't blame yourself. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel that people are going to look down on you because everybody goes through it. Okay? And if you don't tell people you're looking, they can't help you. I have a friend who is a volunteer on several boards, nonprofit organizations, and nobody on that board, any of those boards, knows that this person is in transition because they haven't been networked, because they haven't told anybody. They're living a dream. They're still going out, paying for things, and acting like everything is normal. It's not normal. The reality of this situation, this is the new normal, I guess you want to call it. But the first thing, you can't be ashamed of it because you didn't do this to yourself. There's no stigma around being in transition, being unemployed. Let's say what it is, you're unemployed. There's no stigma attached to that. 40, 50 years ago, sure, maybe people got unemployed because they did something. But now companies are laying people off left and right. You know, when you go to an interview and they ask you, well, you worked here, why did you leave there? You say, it was a reorganization. That's all you got to say. You know, And I'm not telling anybody to lie. But the great thing about it is even if you just got fired, you can say it was a reorganization. There's no way for them to really know. My point is this. I joke about it, but my point is this. Don't look down on yourself. Don't beat up on yourself because you're in transition. This was not your plan. Okay, remember talk about having a plan? This was God's plan. He put you here for a reason. He put you here tonight for a reason. He put me up on the stage for a reason. So if you want to trust God, you got to trust that He knows what He's doing. So don't. I guess this. Don't go out on your front lawn and scream at everybody. But you will find out who your true friends are, and that's one thing that transition does for you too. You really find out who your friends are. Yeah, I remember when I got laid off, and I've been laid off. Let's be clear. 3, maybe 4 times. To the point where you get laid off and you know what to do. You just go ahead and file your paperwork and you're just on autopilot. But you also find out who your real friends are. I had friends that I worked with that we went to lunch every day. We went and sat in a conference room and had lunch and just hung out and laughed every day. And when I got laid off, granted, I couldn't go into the office and have lunch with them, but I had all their phone numbers because we were friends. And it was surprising to me how many people stopped returning my calls or stopped answering my calls. And it hurt because you start to realize that this friendship that you had was not really, it was a friendship of convenience. It wasn't a true friendship. And that's fine. We all have those work friendships. And it hurts when you find out that you have them at a time when you need them. And speaking of friendships, some of the best friends I have to this day are people I met in meetings just like this. You would never think that you would